People will say it's so sad that the African lion is nearly extinct. But very few will think that they as an individual have an impact on that. But when you realise that every vote you cast, with every dollar and pound and euro you spend, is a vote to live with or without iconic species on this planet, to make humanity continue on a path which is very destructive for the planet with no thought for the natural world, or to continue on a path where you vote for the protection of the natural world. As I do now with my words in making this video, I cast a vote with my energy to allow my son to grow up on a planet where the African lion breathes the same air that we do. Hey guys, I want to share with you all a little bit of a story time, but also to tell you that after 7 years of looking, last week when my friend and I went out, we put a mattress in the car and we took me out to the area where the tree climbing lion of Lake Wanyama are found. This was the one time I can say I've been to Wanyama and not looked for the tree climbing lion, and it was the one time I found the tree climbing lion. This being, this form of sentient life, this expression of sentient life, had become almost mythical to me. And in general, seeing wild lions, there's such a power and a nobility to them. I can't begin to explain how it feels to see them. I can liken the feeling to when I was a child and I'd watch a storm rolling in, and you were aware that the natural world has a power that can make us submit at any time. And beyond the world of tools and weaponry, you can see this power encapsulated in sentient form when you meet a wild lion. Then to meet the tree climbing lion, the fabled, the mystical, the magical almost, the mythical to some degree for me, because I just couldn't get myself to find them. Then the experience is amplified, and that feeling of understanding and seeing this powerful force and somehow this deeply connected spiritual natural force, this force of nature, it's so overwhelming. And it's something I never want any human being to not have the opportunity to experience at some point. And I think it's so important that we think of that, because the lion plays a huge role in my life, and it always will. My son's name is Aslan, meaning lion. I'm sworn into the Maasai tribe, as many of you know, and when I was sworn into this tribe and accepted as a member, Alaratoni Liza. Liza is my clan name. Alaratoni is he who helps our people in Kimasai. I started to understand their ways and their customs, and one of the ancient customs was the lion hunt. An initiation of men was to hunt and kill a lion. And I have friends who have fought lions one-on-one, and very close friends as well. But what I see now with the Maasai, there are organisations recruiting the Maasai and turning the tables. Instead of killing the lions, the Maasai are now protecting them. Because they understand that actually the African lion now is a friend in need. It's no longer an enemy killing their livestock and killing members of their family when they're out and about. It's an old friend, and it's in grave danger. And you know, many people, when they talk about endangered species, they don't really understand the gravity of the situation. The African lion is in among the most endangered species in Africa, of African mammals and animals in general. There are only 20,000 wild African lions remaining in the world. There are 700,000 wild African elephants. You never hear anything about the plight of the lions, but the plight is very real. And it's getting to a point where there's a very real possibility that we lose the presence of these beings on the planet. And what a loss it would be to anybody who might stand a chance at seeing them, or even just the cultural inspiration of knowing that you share this world with them has an impact as well. We all grew up knowing about the lions, the iconic movies, the Lion King, etc. Everybody adorned and loved this sentient expression of life. And it's needed right now to be expressed in something more than just feeling concern. It needs something to happen. And the reason something has to happen, in the last century, we have seen a species of lion go extinct. That species is the Barbary. The Barbary lion, its gene pool is over. That has to be recognized by humanity. On our watch, the Barbary lion was hunted to extinction. On humanity's watch, some of us within inside our lifetime, they say up until as late as the 1960s when the last Barbary was shot and killed, the wild Barbary. We've allowed another species of lion to go extinct. Now, the last photo of a wild male Barbary is available. And if you look at that photo, it's soul destroying when you actually take stock of what you're seeing. A male seeking a mate, seeking hunting grounds, and totally isolated and alone and unable to find them. It's a really sad, horrid state of affairs that a species can get to that point, not off the back of nature's way, but off the back of the human way, which is based on desire. Sentient life on this planet base themselves on impulses of recreation, carrying their gene pool forward, the need to eat, the need to nurture their young. Humanity are totally outside of those, and we are at the point where we're just seeking pleasure. And that pleasure equates to destruction, because in taking these finite resources to try and stimulate our flesh in the present moment to somehow feel some sense of freedom is an illusion, because you never find the freedom. You just feed into the illusion that that will happen, and it's a bottomless pit of desire. There's never any freedom down that road. And yet here we are living in a society where most of us cast votes to live that way. Now, I don't do conservation work as of yet, but I will, and I know I will, because educating children nationwide is certainly the first step on conservation we'll take. Protecting this land, protecting the iconic beings that the children share this land with, is best done by getting the next generation to understand the importance of that for spiritual purposes, environmental purposes, and economical, because they rely on the safari industry, the tourist industry, to support the economy here so heavily. But what we find is humanity, they're casting votes left, right and centre, and they're not really thinking about where they are casting their vote, because people don't even realise they're voting. You live in a massive tank, and the tank is Earth, and there's a system in place on there, and that system is monetary. And every dollar, pound, euro, shilling in my country that you spend, you're casting a vote on how humanity collectively expresses itself. And if we continue to cast votes for nights out and alcohol and drugs, or we continue to cast votes for high quality sports cars that are better than the next guy's, or the next little gadget that does the same job as the last gadget we had, but this one's the new model and has some extra features. We keep pursuing the endless need for new design clothing, etc. All this consumerist pursuit. Every time we buy, we cast a vote. Now, every time you vote for a glass of wine, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But the more you pursue the vote culturally for alcohol, what is it that you're reinforcing about the narrative about human society? Now, if you take that into account and give it some polarity and say you can cast a vote by supporting an organisation that's working on the conservation of lions, you might be someone who's trying to stop drinking. Now, it's not to bash alcohol too much, but you know, I've got reservations about certainly the effect of alcohol on people's consciousness, because people are just less conscious when they drink, in my experience. It's how I've had it. Now, I'm not saying it's always the case, and I'm talking heavy drinking, yeah? And it's likewise if someone's so obsessed with their image and makeup and clothing, you get the same cut-off when it comes to the depth of consciousness. But anything that you're doing that you don't want to be doing, you can cast a different vote. You can cast a vote by talking about the situation with the lions of Africa. You can cast a vote by saying, I'm going to send the cost of a glass of wine to this institution that I've researched because they are providing the best possible care and the best possible conservation for the African lion. You know, basically it's saying I cast a vote, as I do now with my words and making this video, I cast a vote with my energy to allow my son to grow up on a planet where the African lion breathes the same air that we do. I cast a vote today to say I want to continue to live on this planet alongside African lion, and I want my children to get the chance to as well. And in talking about them, that's how I cast my vote. If I had expendable income, putting money into those conservation places would be exactly what I would do. Check them out, research them, etc. See, we have to start thinking in that way, because a lot of people will say it's so sad that the African lion is nearly extinct. But very few will think that they as an individual have an impact on that. But when you realise that every vote you cast with every dollar and pound and euro you spend is a vote to live with or without iconic species on this planet, to make humanity continue on a path which is very destructive for the planet with no thought for the natural world, or to continue on a path where you vote for the protection of the natural world. You vote for fair trade goods that are not encroaching on wildlife lands. You vote for the conservation of lion. You vote for the world that you want to see with the actions that you partake in and the things that you buy whilst taking action upon those actions of your flesh. So I vote to live on a planet with African lion, and I ask that you cast the same vote somehow. Just be conscious of the problem we're facing, because the wonder and the magic of sitting in their presence, I don't want to bring a gloom over my amazing experience, but at the end of the day, I'm sitting here with some of the last of these beings, certainly some of the rarest and rare of lions, the tree climbing, and I'm there with them in person. I'm honoured to look them in the eye. I'm honoured to sit there and to say I'm one of the few of the billions of our species who can see them and can tell you about them and tell you the effect they have on you. But I'm also somebody with a voice who can sort of maybe say to 1,000 people at least, hey, the African lion has a plight, and maybe one of you out there would like to do something significant to cast a vote to help them if you care about the situation and have the ability to do so. I don't want to see this species of lion go the same way the Barbary did. And I just hope and pray to God that enough people become conscious to ensure that that does not happen and never will happen. And if anything, we see those numbers growing, as we do see in many African nations at the moment, because continual conservation, continually being conscious of their plight is the only way that we're going to ensure their longevity, at least for our grandchildren. Because at the current rate, by the time your grandchildren get to my age, they'll be able to go and see them in zoos and little else. And that's where we are. It's crunch time for humanity. And everything, every action from waking up till going to sleep is at a crucial time where humanity must cast their vote. And they must cast a vote to be conscious and to care and to breathe the same air as these mythically wondrous and wonderful beings that I sat with last week. God bless, guys. Bye. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, as it really helps us to grow the channel and with it help more children here in Tanzania. Also, don't forget you can support our work by sharing with children in crisis here, be it sharing for a particular need or even sharing one-on-one support for education, housing, food and medical care.
It can be done for as little as the cost of a cup of coffee a week back in the West after all. Just visit www.sharetanzania.co.uk to find out more. Lastly, remember you can also support us via Patreon, www.patreon.com/featherstail, and help keep us here in Tanzania to continue our work. The links for the website and for the Patreon are in the description box of this video. Love and light, guys. See you soon.